We don't like African Americans because they feel that we owe them something. I want to make two things clear. First, I want to start off by saying that when we say things like this, we are following the same agenda that we are fighting against. We are fighting against.
Hello, guys, welcome to Black History. So, sometimes history doesn't really hit you until you feel a piece of it yourself. For a long time, a lot of Latino communities in America saw racism as something separate, like something that mainly belonged to Black Americans, something distant, something from the past. But lately, with everything happening politically and socially, there's been this quiet realization, oh, this is what they were talking about. This is what it feels like. Guys, watch this video until the end and don't forget to leave your comments with how you think about this video and if you agree with some of the clips. So guys, enjoy this video and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe.
Now I can empathize and sympathize with the Black community. I've never been able to do that before because I would hear them say things like, oh, we walk down the street and we get profiled and, cops will just suddenly stop and frisk or whatever just because of the color of their skin. And I always thought like, it's a little bit of a stretch. It feels like a little bit of a stretch. That person must be doing something, right? And obviously I've never experienced that before. I've never felt that way before and stuff. And so I always thought like, ignorantly, by the way, on my part, thinking like, I think you guys are, because I'm brown, I've never felt that and stuff like that, I'm also a minority. But now, with us, it wasn't the cops. Cops aren't just randomly to go and checking in the past. But now it's our turn, right? Now we feel it. Now we feel like, crap, can I just go down the street? Do I need my paper? It's like, why are you stopping me? I'm a U.S. citizen. We're not doing anything wrong. And now we're being persecuted. And so now I'm thinking like, crap, this is what the Black community meant, and I kind of feel bad. Well, I feel bad because I never really could understand where they were coming from or where you guys were coming from. But I can assure you that now that it's here with us too, it's like, crap. I honestly, legitimately didn't think it was real. But it's real as hell. And it's obviously minority groups that are targeted and persecuted pretty much. And it's right now with us is because we're brown. You guys have had your turn when, cops were just in bigger cities, urban areas, stopping disproportionately, the Black community and stuff. And I just want to say, like, I guess now I understand. I think moving forward, there's going to be a little bit more unity because we now can see where you guys are coming from, or at least I can, and so, yeah, guys, I just want to say sorry for being ignorant before, but I hope this unites all communities, not just minorities, and call out things for what they are, regardless of the race.
Now that I have addressed the racism within my own community, let's talk about the anti-Blackness that exists within the Latin American communities. So I wanted to take my time before I made this video. I knew it was coming, but I had to go out in, the field and ask my people what's going on. So this is what I concluded. When I went to go talk to them, they said that, we don't like African Americans because they feel that we owe them something. I want to make two things clear. First, I want to start off by saying that when we say things like this, we are following the same agenda that we are fighting against. We are fighting against white supremacy and racism. Those ideas that, that we have, the way we think, the way we are taught to fear African Americans, that is the same thing that we are fighting against. It's no different. When we choose to speak like this and participate in these stereotypes, we are no better than the people we are fighting against. And that is a point I want to make very clear to the people within my community, that you guys sound ignorant. We need to figure it out. Where do you truly stand with this? Because People are right. You can't ask African Americans for help when this is in the real world. That is how they are treated. My second point: reparations are owed to the African American community. Without them, we would not be able to vote. We would not be able to go to the same schools. We would not be able to sit wherever we want. Let's not forget. They have been fighting for a very long time, since they came here. And us not acknowledging, I know I don't feel that as a country we have paid the respect that they owe. They really do. We owe them everything. It's because of greats. They're great people. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panthers, they paved the way for us. They are the blueprint. And for us to go and participate in the same mentality that we are fighting against, it's just horrible. And it's wrong. If we don't fix this type of mentality and check our people, we are no better than the people we are up against. I want you to know that ignorance is our greatest enemy. So please do not allow yourself to be blinded by hate. I love and respect everybody, and I just want to say that if there's more people in the Latin community who are with me, I need y'all to say something. I need y'all to join the fight with me, because I can't be the only one.
So there's this awakening happening. A lot of Latino folks are starting to understand that the struggles Black Americans have been talking about for generations were never exaggerated. They weren't playing the victim. They were not complaining, they were surviving. When you look at Black history, from slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration to redlining, it wasn't just random suffering. It was systematic, it was organized, and Black Americans fought against all of it. The civil rights movement wasn't just about Black people being able to sit at a lunch counter. It was about dismantling laws that made discrimination legal. When leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. marched, when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, when young students faced mobs just to go to school, they were expanding democracy itself. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Those victorians didn't only benefit Black Americans. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, anti-discrimination protection, those opened doors for immigrants too. For Latino families, for African immigrants, for Asian communities, for anyone who wasn't white in a country that once legally centered whiteness.
Can we just talk about the anti-Blackness that exists in the Latino community? Because it's a real thing. And it is only further perpetuating the division between our two communities and contributing to the overall oppression of our two communities. And I know there's going to be some people out there that's like, that's not even a thing. That's not a real issue. But it is. I grew up hearing freaking racist remarks made towards Black people. And I heard it often. And I know so many other people did. And not only is it about anti-Blackness, it's also about internalized racism that some Latinos, including myself when I was a child, felt the need to be white because I saw white people being treated better. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm white, or if I consider myself white, or if I tell people that I'm white, then I am going to be treated better. I didn't understand as a child why I even felt that, but we are socialized as a society to want that unless you break out of the freaking matrix and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all being oppressed by the same freaking systems. So for us to have division and for there to be anti-Blackness in our community is not helping anyone. One, it's just wrong. But two, it's only further perpetuating the oppression that already exists in our freaking society. So there's that part. And then there's this whole dismissal of Afro-Latinos because Afro-Latinos exist. yet sometimes are classified as not Latino when in reality they are Latinos, Afro-Latinos. And then there's this whole freaking connection to where we find ourselves in American history, okay? And the fact that many people, many Latinos, Latino men in particular, did not want to vote for a black and Asian, but a black woman, okay? And then there's the intersection of machismo, internalized racism, anti-blackness, and all of it contributing, again, to the further perpetuation of oppression of our communities. That's what I need people to understand. When there's division between our two communities, that is purposeful, okay? Because these systems, these people in power want us to be infighting, when in reality, there's a lot more that we have in common. We are also being oppressed by the same systems. We should be supporting each other. And it is because of Black people and their advocacy that we, as Latinos and other communities, have the civil rights that we have today. The ability for us to even be able to have that privilege was in large due part to Black people, okay? So I need us to understand that. And I need us to have a conversation about that, because even if we were brought up that way, that doesn't mean that we can't change. That doesn't mean that we can't do better, because we can. Okay? Even if society socializes to believe that, we can change, we can do better. So if you want to have this conversation, follow for more.
Latinos in the United States have not earned the support of Black people for us to be demanding, oh yeah, why aren't they coming out to protest with us? Why aren't they engaging in activism with us? Because we haven't earned it at all, in the slightest. Or did you guys forget that 46% of all eligible Latino voters voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election? Or how about the fact that racism, anti-blackness, colorism, all of these things are still very much pervasive in our communities? Bro, Latinos haven't even reconciled with the fact that they can't use the N-word unless they're also Black themselves, because Afro-Latinos exist. Oh, and if we're talking about Miami, oof, you'll see the whitest MAGA Latinos be like, bro, but I grew up in the hood. I grew up around Black people. In Overtown or in Liberty City, I could say it, bro. No one's going to stop me from saying it. It's my right. I'm not racist. I have a Black friend. We haven't even gotten over that. And we want Black people to go to protest with us, to engage in activism with us, putting their lives, their freedom, their bodies on the line? No. I completely understand any Black person that wants to just disengage, disregard us. I get it, guys. I really, really do. And we, as Latinos, as a collective, should not be harboring resentment against Black people, criticizing them, getting angry at them, questioning them. No. No. Because we've earned this. They are completely justified in feeling the way they feel and doing what they're doing. Now, I would like to give a message to the Black folks watching this video. You are completely justified in your feelings and in doing what you're doing, and I respect it. But please remember that Black folks are also being affected by this persecution of undocumented migrants. And I feel like that's not talked about enough either. Here, Miami, Florida is the best example. Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Hondurans, Garifunas, Black people from all over Latin America and all over the world, Africans, just so many Black people that are also undocumented that are really being affected by the persecution of this administration. And of course, much like any other entity in space, Black folks in immigration detention centers, in the immigration system, are treated worse than their white, Latino, Asian counterparts. So it's really important to acknowledge that and just let you guys know. But yeah, Latinos, we need to tighten up. If you guys want the support of the Black community, then earn it. Demonstrate that we can solve these issues of racism in our own communities, and please stop saying the N-word. If you're not Black, don't say the N-word. It's really simple, actually.
Happy Black History Month, and I feel like this is a good time to remind everyone that Black history is also Latino history, and Haitians are also Latino and part of the Latinx community, and they were literally the first ones out of everyone in our community to, start a revolution in order to lead to our freedom. Bachata, merengue, cha-cha, tango, y salsa wouldn't exist without African slaves. Can't forget about reggaeton. Mangu, mofongo, horchata, all come from Africa. Coconut milk, long rice, yam, banana, black beans, all come from Africa. Tortillas, empanadas, gorditas, all were used with plantains. Guess where those came from? Sugar, hibiscus. We would not have agua de horchata or Jamaica without them.
This young woman is about to perfectly break down why Mexicans, Hispanics, whatever you want to call them, why it's so dumb to be racist towards blacks. She breaks it down absolutely beautifully.
Mexico is not a mestizo country, even though Mexicans think they are mestizo. First, what is a mestizo? Mestizo is a person of indigenous and Spanish ancestry only. If the person has any other ancestry, it could be West African, it could be French.
Mestizo is a person with indigenous and Spanish ancestry only. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm here right now, South Central. Most Mexicans running around here are not mestizos.
It can be Middle Eastern, they are not a mestizo. When Mexicans say they're mestizo, this is the caste system triangle that was used during the Mexican colonial system by the Spanish, and this is how they categorize people. Now notice where mestizo is. It's the third level down from peninsulares, which were the Spaniards, and criollos, which were the Spanish-born people that are Spanish heritage. So when people say they're mestizos, they're trying to tell you that they are above everyone below them, because in the Mexican colonial system, caste system, African people were at the bottom and indigenous.
Most Mexicans don't even know what a mestizo is. I promise you, they don't.
People were at the bottom, and then from there you get more in between people. But when Mexicans say they're mestizo, they're trying to say that they have no West African ancestry, and that is problematic because most Mexicans do, especially if they're mixed. Now if they are European only, then obviously they're not going to have West African ancestry. But any Mexican that is mixed, meaning mezclado, they are not mestizos. They are most likely a mixture of the three roots of Mexico, which are indigenous, Spanish. When people continue this narrative of I'm a mestizo that, they're trying to say that they are not West African. They do not claim their West African roots.
There you have it.
I now feel for the black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said, and this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy, and this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes, because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason, and like, it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful, that I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
I'm just going to say something that needs to be said among Latinos, among the Latino community, especially among Chicano community, Mexican Americans, Latino Americans, okay? If it wasn't for black culture, black people, black communities, black leaders, black artists, black music, all of it, if it wasn't for that, we would have an entirely different experience in the United States. Here's the difference between black folks and Latino folks. The black people in America, their ancestors fought for the rights that we all get to fucking enjoy right now. So many Latinos act like white folks just decided to give Latinos rights, just decided to let Latinos vote, just decided to put laws in place so that you could buy property. If it wasn't for black leaders, Latinos wouldn't even be able to bring their kids to a public school. We have a lot of the privileges that we have today because of the Civil Rights Act, because of the Fair Housing Act, because of Voting Rights Act, which for those of you Latinos who voted for Trump, you're welcome. If you are Latino, you better recognize the gift that we were just handed from Black people. So it actually makes sense that more Latinos voted for this president because you didn't have to work for the rights that you were just handed. And don't worry, I will be talking about immigration too, but for right now, I just want to give Black people their flowers. I want to give Black artists their flowers. I want to give Black culture their flowers, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be who I am. Happy, beautiful, beautiful Black History Month from this Latina and most Latinos that have common sense.
The Latino community can learn a lot from Black history, and since it is Black History Month, one thing that has been on my mind has been Black joy. Specifically Black joy as a form of resistance. I was thinking about the Harlem Renaissance, and during that time how there was so much racial violence, and they used jazz, poetry, fashion, art, and creativity in general as a way to strategically demonstrate joy in the midst of like so much pain. When I think about our community, we are also similar in the sense that we're a community that like we find so much joy in song and dance and laughter and getting together and celebrating every little thing. And I just think like everything that has happened has really dimmed that in a lot of us. I feel it. I see it. I hear it. It makes me almost emotional because it's like we can't let them take something that is so ingrained in our DNA. And I think the best example, and nobody knows this better than the Black community, evil forces who are actively finding joy in your pain. The only way to work against that is actively demonstrating joy and showing them that they can take everything that they want away from us, but they can never take our joy. That is ours. Latinos, if you don't know much about Black history, I think that you should open a book. I think you should read a couple articles because it's very intertwined with our own history. A reason why we have a lot of the rights that we have is directly tied to the civil rights movement. And that was a price that many of us didn't have to pay in order to get those freedoms. The reason why so many of us Latinos aligned with the Black Lives Matter movement, saying their names, and we were sharing things and going out and protesting was because, first of all, empathy. If you don't have it, find it. And secondly, we saw the writing on the walls. We knew that their suffering is also directly tied to us because it's like, who's next? You know what I mean? A different organization and a different target, but same shit, different day. I know a lot of other Latinos right now are like really struggling to find joy in the midst of all of this. If one thing that we can learn from the Black community is that joy is an act of resistance.
This Black History Month, I want to remind a lot of people that Black Americans are the reason that we're legally here. Those of us that were born to migrants or descendants of migrants, we have citizenship because of the efforts of Black Americans. Historical figures like Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth were instrumental to passing the 14th Amendment. And why is the 14th Amendment so important? Because it grants citizenship to all people born or naturalized in the United States.
The rights many immigrant community rely on today were fought for literally with Black blood. And now as anti-immigrant rhetoric rises, as people are labeled illegal, as rights feels fragile, some Latino communities are starting to feel a version of what Black Americans have been describing for decades, that constant pressure of having your belongings questioned. The fear, the exhaustion, and it's creating space for reflection. But we also have to be honest. There's anti-Blackness in Latino communities, deep-rooted, historical, sometimes inherited from colonial system that taught us that proximity to whiteness equals safety, that lighter skin is better, that distancing yourself from Blackness might protect you. Carolism, jokes, stereotypes, silence when Black people are targeted, voting against policies that disproportionately harm Black communities while benefiting from the rights of those same communities secured. We can't talk about solidarity without talking about that, Because solidarity isn't just now we understand, it's now we stand differently. It's recognizing that Black Americans have been the backbone of social justice movements in this country, from abolition to civil rights to modern movements against police brutality. They've been on the front lines. And the truth is, Black Americans had not fought relentlessly. I mean, if Black Americans had not fought relentlessly, America would not look the way it does today. Many immigrant communities will not have the protection they rely on. The legal framework for equality would be much weaker. So this moment isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. It's about Latino communities saying, we see it now, we see the labor, we see the sacrifices, we see the costs. And it's about confronting anti-Blackness within our own homes, our own families, our own cultures. Challenging the jokes, challenging the bias, teaching our children better. Because if you're going to talk about unity, it has to be real. I mean, Black Americans have been carrying the fight for democracy in this country for generations. The question now is, will others just benefit from that fight, or will they finally fight alongside with them? That's the shift. That's the growth. And maybe, just maybe, that's how we build something stronger than division. So guys, this video has been amazing, and I hope to see your thoughts and your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can see other videos like this. So thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video.